What is going on, guys? My name is Crimson CBAD, and today we are here with a post-draft recap of the GBA Season 4 draft. If you do follow the GBA on Twitter, which if you don't, the link to the Twitter is going to be down there somewhere, as well as my Twitter if you want to follow me on there. And I'm also going to link to the coaches' channels in there. But like I said, this is just a post-draft analysis. I've had a lot of people ask me questions about my draft. Some of the choices might have seemed a little questionable to some people. Some people didn't really... it's more so kind of clearing up, just like, I'm not going to go into detail too much because, I don't want to give away too much for the season competitively. But I just want to kind of touch base, and, for those of you who don't follow the GBA, I wanted to touch base with our team for this coming season and, talk about just some of my plans with it. Like I said, I won't go into too much detail, but I will talk about my thoughts on the team. I'm going to talk about a few thoughts on the other teams. I'm not going to go into detail on every team, and I'm just going to talk about, like, big threats that I see, power, who I'm looking forward to battling, who I think is going to be a tough battle, so on and so forth. So we're going to go on ahead and hop right on in. My first round, my first pick of the draft was Mega Beedrill. That was my Mega for our team. And a lot of people who I've talked to were kind of skeptical of that. And people who, talk to me or follow me on Twitter, follow the GBA, were very astounded that Mega Beedrill went 10th overall in the draft. And I've got some reasoning behind that. And I figured I'd take this time to kind of clear that up. The first 10 Pokemon, or the first 9 Pokemon that were drafted, save 2, I believe Terrakion and I believe Landorus Therian, were the only 2 Pokemon of the first 9 to be drafted that were not somehow easily counterable with a Mega Beedrill. Mega Beedrill, for those of you who don't know, I'm talking a bit about stats. Mega Beedrill has a base stat of 150 attack, 145 speed. It hits really hard, it moves really fast. You toss a Jolly Nature on there, and it's got 216 speed. Full EV investment, all that good stuff. I wanted to go with it because for those of you who've been around my channel for a while, you guys know that I do a lot of UU battles. When I stream, I prefer like UU and lower tiers. And I really wanted to go with a Mega Pokemon that I was super comfortable with, and that was Mega Beedrill, because it hits hard, it hits fast, we've got U-turn priority in it, and one of the things, most of my Pokemon I do find some versatility in, meaning that, I could run them one way completely, and then, next week I decide that, maybe a super physically offensive one wasn't the way to go. Maybe I want to try a defensive set or something along those lines. Mega Beedrill is one of the few Pokemon on my team where that's not the case. Mega Beedrill has a base defense of 40. It has a base special defense of 80. So there's not really a way you can run it out of the ordinary. It's got a special attack of 15. So even just looking at its stats, you see that it is just a very, just full-on assault. Full-on assault. So that's why I went with Mega Beedrill. Comfortability, I know how to use it very well. Yeah, so I just wanted to touch up on that. The next Pokemon that I took in the draft was Skarmory. And some people are like, oh, mascot picks don't really work in the GBA, they haven't really gone over too well. If we take a step back and realize that one of the only viable counters that I know, there's a few that I know of, but one of the biggest threats to Mega Beedrill is Skarmory, because it avoids any sort of ground typing, any ground attacks, and it resists the poison, and it quad resists bug. So I wanted to draft it because it not only was a counter, it was the mascot as well. I wanted to go with the mascot pick, call it a new guy mistake, call it what you will. But Skarmory also has a couple viable, very good sets that you can run it as. You can run it offensively, you can run it defensively, you can run it as hazards, you can do whatever you want with it. So that was another reason I chose that. Its base stats are pretty good. It's got a base defense of 140, base attack of 80, base speed of 70. That does give you a little bit of wiggle room as far as, how you want to run it. And yeah, special attack isn't too much. Some people just choose to break the meta completely and, run a special attacking Skarmory with Flash Cannon, HP Flying, I don't know. That's not what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to go into what I want to do with it. But there's a couple ways of running it. It was a good counter to Mega Beedrill, and I wanted it so nobody else could draft it. So that was another one that I chose. My next pick in the draft was Clefable. Clefable is a really good Pokemon. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the sets you're able to run with it. You can run it super bulky. You can run it super offensively. You can run a support with it, too. Fairy typing definitely is something that I wanted to include on my team because, I don't know, I commonly overlook it. I'm battling with 11 other people who've been doing this way longer than I have, but Fairy typing is something I always just tend to overlook. So I wanted to definitely get a strong Fairy type Pokemon that I'd be able to bring week in and week out and either, run it however I choose. So the next Pokemon that I drafted was Jolteon. Jolteon, when I first got into competitive Pokemon back in X and Y, Jolteon was one of the biggest threats you saw because it was super fast. It hit super hard with a special attack, and it's just a huge threat. And with the Quick Feet or Volt Absorb abilities, you do have a way of either running it as you can run it as a wall. You can give it that electric immunity, or what you can do is you can strap a Flame Orb, strap a Toxic Orb to it, do something, and then take advantage of that Quick Feed boost, definitely. It does have, the moveset's kind of limited as far as I want to say it goes, but I mean, there are enough options there to where I'm going to feel comfortable working with it, and, I'll be able to bring it in each week against a different threat, because based off of what I've seen from the other teams, Jolteon is going to definitely be a necessary, player this season. The next thing that I chose was Alligator. And I was really surprised, as my 5th overall pick was Alligator. I was really surprised no one had actually taken it yet, because Sheer Force Alligator is a monster. It's an absolute monster. I mean, it's got a base attack of 105, base attack of 78. Run your natures, run your EVs however you will. But with the Sheer Force ability too, it's absolutely insane. I also wanted it because we see from the first 2 picks, I do have a large fire weakness between the Mega Beedrill and the Skarmory. I wanted something that was going to be able to take that. I wanted something that was going to be able to resist the ice. I do have Pokemon, which I will talk about coming up, that are weak to ice. I wanted something that could take a water type hit while still being able to dish it out. And for Alligator's base defense is 100, base special defense is 83. So I feel very comfortable bringing that as far as if I wanted to wall something, if I chose to run a super defensive set, if I chose to run a super bulky attacking set. It does have the stats to help me do that. That's why I ended up choosing that. Gaito Tell. Gaito Tell was actually new. Gaito Tell was an addition to the team because I originally got sniped of my first pick, which was going to be Garchomp. So I ended up drafting Gaito Tell, and Gaito Tell's got some very nice stats on it. It's base HP 70, base defense is 95, special attacks 95, special defense is 110. There's a ton of ways you can run Gaito Tell, especially with the Shadow Tag ability. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to using. Frisk might be handy. I think does it get Frisk? Is that what I'm thinking of? What am I thinking of? Let me scroll really quick. Abilities. Frisk. Yes, Frisk. Frisk might be useful, but Shadow Tag is definitely the more common, the more common play with the Gaito Tell. There's different ways you can, set up with it. It can be a support. It can be full-on attack and still be able to take a hit. So I was really happy being able to get that because I really wanted a really good special attacker that also had some bulk behind it. After Gaito Tell, my next pick was Chandelure. And again, this reflects back on my UU roots. You can actually see within my draft that I do play a lot of lower tiers, that I definitely wanted to be able to showcase that this season. And Chandelure is one of the ones that I'm definitely happy I was able to draft. Chandelure gets Infiltrator, gets Flash Fire. It's super fast. It has a special attack of 145. So there's many different ways you can try it out. You can bring the Infiltrator to break through a sub if somebody decides to set up. You've got Flash Fire for that immunity. It is super frail, but that is, I'm not bringing it as a wall. You bring it as something that can, sneak in behind the enemy lines and, just take him out. So I'm really happy with Chandelure. The moveset on it is definitely very, very diverse, in my opinion, so you are able to get a lot of good coverage off of it. Next, I ended up taking Weezing, and I've fallen in love with Weezing more and more as the meta goes on, and one of the things I really enjoy about Weezing is that it has one weakness, and that's Psychic. Unless somebody brings in a Mold Breaker, or somebody uses Gravity for whatever reason, it's only weak to Psychic. It's got a base defense of 120. It's super bulky. It can set up all over with Toxic Spikes, You know, you can pack a Willow on it, you can pack Pain Split, you can pack Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, whatever you feel like. You can run it super. It's got a base attack of 90, and most people run a, you know, very bulky Weezing, but you do have the option with a special attack of 85 too to run an offensive Weezing, which people might not expect. So those are just some of the options with Weezing. That's why I wanted to take it. It does go into play well. We've got a good core going with a few of our Pokemon with Weezing, being Gothitelle. If we chose to run a bulky Gothitelle, we could do a Weezing Gothitelle core. Gothitelle can take the Psychic. Weezing, you know, like I said, has the one weakness, so I'm not too worried about it. The next thing I wanted to draft was Claydol. Claydol's another one of those Pokemon that you can run very, very, you know, there's a bunch of different ways you can choose to run it if you choose to. Claydol is a spinner. Claydol does have the option for rocks, similar to Skarmory, and a Claydol Skarmory core is actually a very good option in my opinion. It's got a base defense of 105, base special defense of 120. It can set up screens. It can do damage. It does have a base attack and special attack both of 70, which, you know, isn't much, but that's still, you know, you can crack off an Earthquake or a Zen Headbutt and do a fair amount of damage with it. That's one of the reasons I wanted to draft that. It was a really good option in my opinion. One of my last two Pokemon, I'm actually very surprised did not get drafted either sooner or if at all. My next draft that I chose was Sableye. Not Mega Sableye. I believe A-Drive drafted that, if I'm correct. I want to double check that before I... Yeah, A-Drive did draft the Mega Sableye. I drafted base Sableye. And the reason for that is, it was a... Did my voice crack? I don't know. It felt like my voice cracked. That was weird. I, like, touched my throat and, like, my webcam, like, adjusted itself. Either way, Sableye does have a lot of options as far as support goes. You can run, you can run. It's got pretty even base stats. I mean, 75 attack, 75 defense, 65 special attack, 65 special defense. With that prankster ability, it does definitely give me the option to kind of play with my opponents a little bit. You can run Taunt, you can run Willow, you can run Confuse Ray, you can run anything you want pretty much. The Dark Ghost typing leaves me only a Fairy weakness. So another good core to have in mind is going to be that Skarmory Sableye core. You can run a Weezing Sableye core if you wanted to. Just as far as it goes, but there's a lot of options there. I really wanted to take it for that Prankster ability. It's definitely going to help out my team. My last overall draft pick was Rhyperior. And Rhyperior is definitely going to bring some power this season because its overall base stats are outrageous. Base attack of 140, base defense of 130. Wow, that is nuts. That is going to be... Rhyperior can set up the rocks. Rhyperior definitely has enough of a move pool to where I can choose to run different coverages if I want to. I'm very... you can tell by looking at it, you've obviously got that huge water grass quadruple weakness. I almost said resisted, but it's 4 times weak to water and grass. Grass is easily covered by Weezing. Grass is easily covered by Chandelure. The water weakness can obviously be taken by for Alligator. Just tossing it out there, you know, we do have coverage for it, but the main reason I wanted it is because its overall stats are just gigantic. And especially for being such a low tier Pokemon. So that being said, that is the Season 4 2015 Detroit Steel Wings. If you guys are interested in supporting the team, supporting the channel, there will be a link to a Teespring campaign in the description for our Detroit Steel Wings shirt. Features a nice logo. As soon as I get mine in the mail, I will be representing mine every Sunday. Let me kind of talk about some of the other teams really quick. You know, there were the 6 returning coaches. You had Steve, Shady, John, Coop, Miguel, and Dan. They were all the returning coaches. The 6 new coaches, we have Tup, Hank, Gio, Nips, Mulvone, and myself. Some of the drafts, I'm going to talk about just a few of the drafts that I thought were very good in my opinion. I think, for starters, Steve's Milwaukee Sawsbucks definitely has a very well-rounded team. He drafted Mega Gardevoir, Landorus T, Breloom, Suicune, Arcanine, Electros, Muck, Latios, Donphan, Crawdaunt, and Miltank. That is a very powerful team. That is going to be definitely a threatening team. That's going to take a lot of time and preparation on my part for when I end up going up against him. Another one that I actually thought was very good was, let me find it here so I can get it. This next one, it scares me mainly because of the raw attack power that it brings. It was Shady Penguin of the New York Yankees. He drafted Mega Scizor, Conch Elder, Garchomp, Azelf, Rotom, Heat, Ambipom, Regirock, Milotic, Superior Galvantula, and Honchkrow. There's a ton of physically attacking Pokemon in there that absolutely scare the hell out of me. Part of it is because I don't venture into OU too often, so when I see Mega Scizor, Conch Elder, Garchomp, wow, just blows my mind. So that's definitely gonna be another one that I have to plan a lot for, as far as because there's also, you've got versatility within there. So I think one of the teams that people are actually sleeping on right now is going to be Gym Leader Geo with the San Francisco Giants, and here's why. His first two draft picks were Scizor and Ferrothorn, and what quadruple weakness to fire. Everybody, as it was unplaying, I wasn't really sure what he wanted to do. He ended up, let me go by round really quick so I know when he pulled that one. Scizor, Ferrothorn, Goodra, Gyarados, and then in the 5th round he snagged Politoed. And that immediately just shut everybody up because he grabbed that Politoed. He's got that Rain Dance, or not Rain Dance, what is it, Drizzle? He's got Drizzle, so if you bring in a Fire-type move on Scizor or Ferrothorn in the rain, you're not going to hurt it. I mean, you will, but not as much as you want to. And then to go along with that Goodra has the hydration ability, obviously. Gyarados is actually going to be boosted in the rain, Electivire. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with Ditto and Mesprit. But his Mega is Mega Swampert. So that Politoed Mega Swampert core, how that went almost every round without being drafted is nuts. So that's definitely going to be a team to look out for. I'm actually very, very excited to battle John and the New Orleans Pelipers because a stat was sent my way that the overall highest the highest base stats in the league are actually the New Orleans Pelipers. And John, for those of you who don't know, he drafted Mega Venusaur, Sylveon, Raikou, Staraptor, Empoleon, Spiritomb, Uxie, Black Kyurem, Crocodile, Entei, and Hariyama. That is a very powerful team. That is a super powerful team. He did not leave any free points left over. He put a lot of thought into that team. And the other part of that statistic was that he not only had the highest overall base stats, I actually, in my draft, being a lower tier battler and just what I drafted the lowest overall base stats. So I kind of have that underdog feel going for me if I'm going up against John. But that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. For those of you who don't know, divisions were announced today. The link to the GBA Twitter where they announced all the divisions will be announced, will be in the link, like I said before. But I'm actually in the same division as Jonathan New Orleans Pelipers and Cooper with the Utah Jasmine. So it's definitely some tough competition for me. However, I feel like, now's my time to prove my worth. I think we've got a very solid team, and I think it's going to be an incredible season. Please make sure, if you're not, go check out all the coaches in the link in the description below. The links to all their channels will be down there because it's a bunch of awesome guys. They really are. I'm really glad I'm getting to know some of these guys. The support that everybody has been showing me and everybody else in the GBA is just absolutely amazing. I'm very excited to see where the season goes. So that being said, guys, like I said, there is a link to the Teespring campaign in the description if you choose to support the Detroit Steel Wings and myself. All proceeds from that shirt will go directly back and support me and the channel. If you have enjoyed our little team recap, please leave a like, please leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button if you're excited, because GBA content will be coming every Sunday on the regular as soon as that starts up. So that being said, my name is Crimson CBAD, and I will talk to you all soon. Later.